Apologies for being a little bit late today. Y'all can hear me? Yeah, apologies for being a little bit late. Had to do a bunch of stuff before I could actually get on stream. Fortunately, but we're here now. Okay. I do have the transcript queued up. I told you guys I was going to have the transcript. I got that queued up. Jam is back in court. He's being questioned currently. This is still direct, which means this is the first set of questions from the prosecutor because it's a prosecutor's witness. All right. Eventually, there will become an opportunity where Jam will be cross examined by the defense. Okay. And then after that, there is a possible what's called a redirect, and then possibly even a recross. Now, just being honest here, I think Jam is such an important witness that we're going to have the defense. They're going to take every opportunity to go at Jam, try to discredit him, try to, poke some holes in his story, kind of show the fact that, hey, this guy's only saying all these stuff because he's trying to get out of jail. He's never had a conscience before, because you heard that sob story first day, right? Oh man, my parents was a crackhead. They put a gun in my hand when I was 12. It sounds really good, but a good defense attorney is going to be like, so you're telling me you killed somebody over 12 years ago. Did you ever write the family a letter? No? Did you ever, do anything to atone for your sins back then? No? So the only time you're down to talk about it and take some accountability is when you get an immunity deal that's going to keep your ass out of prison. That's the only time? Really? After 12 years? Come on, we're not buying that. So I expect Brian Steele to rip a whole pause. But rip apart everything Jam is saying. Jam kind of made him, oh yeah, I had to rob niggas. Even one time I had to rob people for food. Traplo Ross reacted to that. I was like, well, what? Kind of felt bad for him. Nigga, come on, bro. So a good defense attorney is going to rip a hole into everything he's saying. He's not a victim. This is a guy who, just like how he's laying down all the gang rules of the BDs or whatever, and he's saying put your life in for the gang, even though, by the way, half of the stuff he was saying about the gang, he's completely going against. Now, you can't have you in your feelings like, oh man, he's the victim. No, he's not. No, he's not. But Jamie the Bull is on the stand, people. Welcome. We are in day 4. Day 4 for us is going to be day 6 in the case because they count jury selection. We don't count that. But I do have this is the transcript. Okay? So Jamie the Bull was on the stand for around the later half of the afternoon. And the day ended with him being on the stand. Now, you guys have heard a lot about what was supposedly said by him. I hear somebody even just came out now and said he actually didn't admit to 3 bodies. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just we're going to go to the tail of the tape, which is going to be the transcript. Okay, this is the official record, and this will even be used, and it's probably already being used to possibly set up a appeal or anything that could happen from this case subsequently. All right. Okay. So I think the little starting versions, I don't care about these things, but we should probably start off with it. Okay. Let's start off with it. I'm going to try to get through reading this a little bit quickly. You guys should be up to speed on exactly what's going on. So just rock out. Let's get through some of this stuff quickly. All right, chat. This is OTF Jam on the stand. You're going to hear every word he says in court. I'm going to repeat it here. Then we're going to get to updates from today. Okay, so let me get into this quick. So, his name is Mr. Hester, but for these purposes, we're going to call him Jamie the Bull or OTF Jam. Okay, but his real name is Casey Hester. Anyway, good afternoon, Mr. Hester. By the way, this is the AUSA asking or saying. Jamie the Bull says, "What's up?" Says, so are you currently detained in federal custody? Jamie says, yes, sir. Question says, and by the way, remember people said that Jamie the Bull was dropping addresses, talking about, yo, whoever mad about me, tell him, come get up with me. Here's my low. He's lying. I think it was in the same shoe as probably where 6ix9ine and them was at. Like, come on, he's a protected witness. He's not dropping no lows. Like, come on, that was cap. But he probably put it out there as bait. Maybe either by the government telling him. Maybe, actually, I probably think the government put him up to that, where he dropped the location to see if Durk was stupid enough to go have some niggas try to slide. And because you got to remember, at this point, Durk knows this nigga's testifying, right? Let's see if, because that's what they got Big U on. Big U tried to get an inmate to kill another inmate, which is you try to kill a witness. Like, when they have a weak case or the case is like whatever, it doubles down on the case when they could say, oh, we caught him trying to hide evidence. He trying to kill a witness. So I think that's what that was about. But the guy was in custody. Never got let out. Okay? Say, yes, sir. He says, is that because you've pled guilty to federal crimes? Jamie says, yes, sir. So what charges did you plead guilty to, Jamie? Jamie the Bull says, conspiracy to commit murder for hire, conspiracy to commit kidnapping resulted in murder, robbery murder, and carrying a firearm and firing a firearm. AUSA says, do one of those murders relate to the death of Savara Robinson? Jamie says, yes. They show an exhibit. It says, what am I showing you? Do you see this? Do you recognize it? Jamie says, I do recognize it. They said, who is that? He said, that's me with a gun in my hand. He said, how you know it's you? Because the shoes I got on. Man, I had some red and white Pradas on that day. The AUSA says, well, we'll get into the details of that murder in a moment, but right now, as you look around the courtroom, do you see any other people who participated in the murder and or the planning of Mr. Robinson's murder? Jamie says, yes. AUSA says, can you tell me who they are? Jamie says, Durk. He says, you mean Mr. Banks? Yeah. Do you see anyone else? Didi over there? He said, do you mean DeAndre Wilson? Yes. Do you see anyone else? Yeah, him right there. I don't know his name. I just know him as the CVL shorty. Said, okay. So do you see another person who you committed this murder with here in the court? Yes. Can you tell us where he's sitting or just describe something that he's wearing that we can know who you're talking about? Man, that boy got a black suit over there, gray tie, glasses. Objection. Okay. We'll stipulate to his identification in court, Judge. Judge says, all right, based on the stipulation, the record will reflect Mr. Lindsay has been identified. Okay? AUSA says, we'll get into the details of the murder in a little bit, but I want to talk to you at least a little bit. First of all, in the matter of the murder of Savara Robinson, were you targeting Mr. Robinson or were you targeting someone else? Nah, we was targeting Quando Rondo. Well, why were you targeting Quando Rondo in particular? Man, we were doing it for the revenge of King Von getting killed. Okay. I want to talk to you a bit about your background. Where are you from, sir? Jamie the Bull says, from the Rack, South Side, Inglewood. AUSA says, have you lived on the South Side of Chicago your entire life? Yes, sir. How old are you? 34. In your life, have you been involved with the criminal street gang on the South Side of Chicago known as the Black Disciples? Yes, sir. And I want to ask you a couple questions about your involvement with the gang in respect to the Black Disciples in general. On the South Side of Chicago, are there blocks or cliques within the Black Disciples umbrella? Yeah. Were you one of those blocks or cliques? Yeah, I was. Which one? Lamron 300. And how old were you when you got into the gang? Well, I've been around that shit my whole life, but I got blessed in when I was 9. You said you got blessed in. What does that mean? Yeah. Is that like an initiation? Yes. Why is it, or actually, wait, do you know why the block that you were involved with inside the Black Disciples was called Lamron? Jamie says, because we're off Normal. We're off 64th and Normal. And if you spell it backwards, we say we ain't normal, so we call ourselves Lamron. So the question then becomes, from the AUSA, so the gang originated on the intersection of 64th and Normal, right? And Lamron is Normal backwards. Steele says, objection. He's repeating the testimony. The AUSA says, I'm just trying to justify, Your Honor. I'm trying to clarify. All right, that's it. Overruled. AUSA says, I want to talk to you about the structure of the gang. Did you ever become a leader within the gang? Jamie says, yes. What position did you obtain within the gang? Jamie says, a minister. The question then becomes, what authority does a minister have? A lot. Can a minister issue directives to younger members? Yes. To commit acts of violence, for example? Yes. How does someone rise to a level of leadership in the gang? Multiple ways. Can you give some examples? This is Jamie right here. It could be how they see people rise through the rank, through money, inherited, like their family held, somebody in their family held power within the mob, or violence, ways like that. AUSA says, so why did you rise to a level of leadership in a black disciple? He says, through violence. Question then becomes, and when you were an active member in Lamron, by the way, is Lamron also referred to as Lamron 300? He says, yes. So, well, could you briefly explain why it's referred to as 300? Answer becomes, because like the movie 300, the Spartans, how they never back down to nobody. That's just us. AUSA says, is it fair to say that Lamron could be referred to as Lamron 300, or maybe just 300 in general? Yeah. Question then becomes, so when you were an active member of Lamron 300, did you participate in meetings with other black disciples? Yes. And just so we're clear on why that's relevant, did another individual that you committed this murder with also participate in some of those meetings? Yes. Who? Durk, Lil Didi. So you're saying Mr. Wilson and Mr. Banks? Yeah. Okay. I just want to talk about that we could get an understanding of what are those meetings about? Are they regular? How those things go? Jamie the Bull, he says, first it was regular meetings every Friday. But if it was an emergency going on, we would just be called at any time. AUSA says, is this a member of, okay, excuse me, are the participants of that meeting just Lamron Block clique people? Or is it more like a broad black disciples on the south side of Chicago meeting? Jamie says, depending on the situation, could be multiple cliques of black disciples. The question becomes, what type of things are dealt with at those meetings? Jamie says, could be violations, could be black disciples. You know, it's different cliques. They're getting into it. I don't know. Could be he gets cut off by the AUSA. Let me stop you real quick. There's some slang we got to educate the jury here on. Is that okay? So you just said the black disciple cliques that get into it. Did you just say that? Jamie says yes. Can you explain what the term getting into it means? Or being into it? Jamie says, like, how to act like beefing with each other. Okay, please continue. That's what the AUSA says. Jamie says, yeah, it could be murders being discussed. Black disciples get into oppositions could be discussed. Things like that. The question becomes, can folks get blessed in at those meetings also? Answer is yes. Do you have to bless in order to be a member? You got to be blessed in. You have to bless in to be in order to be a member. Yes. Is there a kind of oath you got to take when you bless in? Yes, it is. Can you explain it? You get blessed in with 3 laws, 3 different laws. Like when I was blessed in, the 3 laws I was blessed in with was that I will sacrifice my life for the nation causes. I will abide by all commands given to me by the king upon all the chiefs, and I will greet and salute any member of the black disciple nation with a touch of the hand and a clenched fist. AUSA says, so I want to be clear. What was the first one? Jamie says, I will sacrifice my life for the nation causes. AUSA says, for the nation causes? Meaning black disciples nation, right? Jamie says, yes. Question says, okay, so what was the second one again? I'll abide by all commands given to me by the king and all upon the chiefs. AUSA says, abide by the commands of leadership then, right? Jamie says, yes. He said, what was that third one? Jamie says, I will greet any member and salute them if they're a member of the Black Disciple with a touch of the hand and a clenched fist. The AUSA says that one has to deal with the greeting and saluting of fellow BDs, right? Meaning Black Disciples. Yeah. So what does the first one mean? Now, again, they're going through painstaking, effort to try to educate the jury, who probably a bunch of white dudes don't know too much about gangs or BDs, about the procedure here and show that it's structural. Jamie says, basically, you gonna put your life on the line for whatever they tell you to do. He says, well, does that include not tolerating disrespect? Yeah, of course. AUSA says, you said of course. I want to talk to you about some principles within the gang of the Black Disciples. Is it important to be loyal to your block, loyal to the Black Disciples as a member of the Black Disciples?